Okay, cool. All right, I have to wear my headphones because I had sound problems if you're just joining us. Thank you for being here. Oh, good. I'm glad it's good. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, my book is 1 year old, and I thought, why don't I just go on and we can talk about it? And I've gotten a lot of new followers since then, and so I figured if anyone shows up who's new that I haven't spoken with, I could say hello, and you can ask me questions, and we can just have fun talking about my first book. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Salter. Yeah, the delay, I'll have to get used to it. I think on my first live stream, which was when I launched the book, it wasn't really a long lag. Like, there was a little bit, but it didn't feel as long as it does now, so who knows? But I know there's a few other people that said that they would be here, so I want to wait to get into the real meat of it. I am going to be revealing the title of the second book and a real tentative launch date, but I want to wait on that stuff till a few of my friends who said they'd be here show up. But do you have any questions for me? Is there anything you wanted to ask? It can be about Just on the Author, or it can be about anything, really. You have my undivided attention right now. Let's see. Okay. I should have had like some music going or something, but apparently I have struggles with the sound, so that's for down the road when I've done a few more of these and I get used to it. Okay, so I wanna say, let me find my little thing of everything I want to talk about. So I want to let you know what's happening on this live stream. I am going to talk about my favorite parts of Just on the Altar, and if you've read it, I want to know your favorite parts too. Ask me anything at any time. I was going to do a little segment of it, but I think anytime you want to ask me something, just drop it in the chat, and I will answer it as soon as I see it. I'm going to tell you a few Easter eggs and a little bit of trivia, or we're going to do trivia where I'll ask you questions about the book and see if you can answer them. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the sequel and when I hope to release it. This is a big hope. I could be wrong. But I read something recently about how if you don't set a time limit on things, time can seem to stretch very long until infinity, and you'll never get the thing done. So I decided I'm going to set some really ambitious goals for the sequel, because my first book took 5 years from the time I wrote the first draft to publish, and I don't want the second and third book to take 5 years. So I'm going to tell you when it is in a little bit. Okay, let's check this. Okay, so Salter EA, thanks again for showing up so early. I appreciate that. Did writing this next book come easier after you finished Just on the Altar? Yes and no. It was easier in the fact that I didn't have to build the world and create the characters and all that. So all that kind of basic foundational stuff was already laid in. The plot was a little bit easier to write because I had the general overall idea of what was going to happen because of the characters I introduced in the first book and the natural progression of, okay, what would come next after the end of Just on the Altar. So in that aspect it was. As far as anything else, no, not really. It was actually a little harder because I wrote the first draft for book 2 while I was still working on book 1, and then went back and realized, okay, a lot of things, once I finished book 1, Just on the Altar, a lot of things had changed. So I had to go through that first draft I wrote for book 2 and change a lot of things. I basically did a reverse outline where I went through each chapter I'd written and kind of did a little synopsis of what happened in the chapter. And then when I got to the end, I could look back and say, oh, okay, this needs to change here and that needs to change there. And then I basically did a second first draft, if that makes any sense. And that's not even complete. I still have to write the finale. I went on a week writing retreat not too long ago to try to finish that finale, and I got a lot done. But the finale is so hard because I want it to be I want it to be satisfying. You know, I want it to really be worth all the struggles to get to it. I have some new ideas. I'm going to work on it, and I'm hoping to get that done any day now. But NaNoWriMo's coming, and my hope was to write book 3 first draft during NaNoWriMo. So, are you doing NaNoWriMo? I'd like to know, because some of my friends like to do it and some don't. I think it kind of depends on your style of drafting, whether you kind of edit as you go, or if you're more like just get the words down, which is kind of what Nano's designed for. So let me know if you're doing NaNoWriMo. Let's see. So since there's a few watching now, so hello if you just joined us and you haven't said hi yet. If anyone watching is brand new and this is their first video seeing of me, welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle Winkler, and I call myself an indie author in training, even though I have published a book, because there's so much that goes into writing a book that I feel like I'm still learning a lot. I'm still brand new at this, so I'm going to call myself an author in training for a while probably. But on my channel, I do share my writing journey and some of the mistakes I've made. So if you are a writer, hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and not make the same ones yourself. And today we're talking about Dust on the Altar. It's been out for a whole year. Let's see, is there anyone who hasn't read the book that wanted to know a little more about it? Let me know in the comments. And at any time, you can just type in the comments any questions you have for me, and I'll answer as soon as I see them. Let's see, what else did I want to do today? So my favorite parts, maybe I should talk about my favorite parts while you're... Wait, did I have... Oh, I have top chat on. I want live chat. Okay, whoops. That's so funny. Yeah, my first live stream went so much smoother than this in the beginning, and I don't know why. Live and learn. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about my favorite parts of Dust on the Altar real quick. There are 3 that come to mind right away. Okay, I'm just reading the comments right quick. I've never done Nano, but I'd love to cheerlead people who do. Ah, thank you. I'm more a fan of Preptober than getting into consistent writing. Yeah, Preptober is a lot of fun, I would think, if you're someone who likes to outline and kind of do the big overall thinking before drafting. I struggle with that. I really admire people who can just outline the whole thing and know where the story's going ahead of time. Because for me, when I try to do that, I end up just writing. I'm like, okay, so this is going to happen. Oh, and then she says this, and next thing I know, I'm writing, I'm drafting. So I have a feeling I'm very much a pantser, someone who writes by the seat of their pants. But plotting, I think, is a very good way to do at least a general overview, even if you're not going to, because I know some people, their plotting goes on for almost a book's worth, and that's amazing, because then when you write, it's probably really fast and easy. But yeah, I can't plot very well. All right, so let me tell you my 3 favorite parts of Dust on the Altar. Obviously, if you haven't read it yet, there's going to be some spoilers. If you want to quick dive into the first 3 chapters and see if it's a book that you'd be interested in, just go to michellewinkler.com/book, and on that page is going to be a link to download the first 3 chapters to Book Funnel. You can read them for free, get an idea of my writing style, and a little bit of what the story's about. Now, I will say that it starts out kind of sci-fi and then shifts to more fantasy, because the story is about a woman who grew up in a township which was all about magic, and everyone practiced magic, and she was a witch. And then when her parents die, she moves to a city, and in the cities there are no witches. The only witches there come for work and leave. The people who live in the cities are called citizens, and they rely on technology. They don't really believe in magic or follow magic. So she kind of grew up from about the age of 12 not being exposed to magic at all and living in this high-tech city, and that's where the story starts. So if you're looking for just the fantasy aspects, you're going to have to read a few chapters in before you get to those aspects. It's just kind of laying the groundwork and showing you what the citizens are like. But my favorite parts of Dust on the Altar are the dock scene where Jade and April are talking, because it shows their relationship and how supportive they are with each other, even when they're angry. They get into some big fights, but they still love each other and they still support each other. And then another favorite is the introduction of Willow, because if you read the book, you know Willow. She's an awesome, badass witch who doesn't take any crap from anyone, but she still has a really big heart, and she would do anything for the people she loves. And then, here's a big spoiler, Raven's appearance. Raven comes along at the end of the book, and besides just loving her character, that was my favorite part because it surprised me. I did not plan at all for Raven to come along. Even being a pantser, I was just like, okay, let's just go. I've got all the characters. I know what's going to happen. I know how the end is going to go. And I got to the end, and all of a sudden I had this idea for Raven. I went, oh, that's so good. And I wrote it, and she's probably one of my favorite characters to write, because she really doesn't care. She's just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain Raven. You have to kind of read the book. But, yeah, so those are my 3 favorite parts of Dust on the Altar. And if you've read it, anyone who's watching, let me know what your favorite parts are, because I would love to hear that. I know Willow's a big favorite, and I love Mrs. Keepsake, too. She's one of my favorite characters as well. So let me know what some of your favorites, if you have any favorite parts. If you haven't read it, that's fine. Let me know, and I'll try not to spoil too much during this video. Probably not going to be on for too long because, like I said, I don't really have a lot to talk about. I did want to do some trivia and let you know some Easter eggs. Let's see. No. So, Salter E., have you written any full stories yet, or are you still, I call it dabbling in writing. That sounds condescending, but it's not. I wrote a lot of partial stories for years before I wrote Dust on the Altar. So you have to write in order to learn how to write. So there's nothing wrong with starting stories and not finishing them. It gets frustrating after a while, but there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, Krista! Hi, Krista! Oh, thank you so much, Krista. Krista's one of my friends who's been following me for a while, and she's a book blogger. Check out the Bookish, I forgot. The Bookish Hedge Mom? Did I get that right? I think I got that right. I'm so nervous I can't remember anything right now. But yeah, she's got a great little blog, talks about all kinds of different stories, and and yeah, she's been around here for a while, so I'm happy you're here, Krista. Okay, so Salter, I haven't read yet, but I'll forget any spoilers when I do read it. I'm still studying the craft and plotting out stories in my journal. Okay, so yeah, I'd be great at a video like this because I'd be like, spoil me. I won't remember in 5 minutes what you said anyway. So there's not a lot of spoiling that I've said so far other than you've got a new character to look forward to at the end. Yeah, plotting out stories in a journal, I bet, is very fun. Like I said, I don't really plot, but I did write a lot of short stories. I did some fan fiction for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I guess you'd call it fan fiction. I did a couple partial stories for Star Trek way back in the day when I was young. And they were such fun to write. I think part of the fun about writing in a journal, writing without the intent to publish, is you can really write anything, and there's no stress because you don't intend for anyone to see it. And so that's a lot of fun writing. When you're writing a book, you know you're going to publish. It gets hard because you want to write what you want to write, but at the same time you have this little voice in the back of your head saying, your mom's going to read this. And so that kind of, it colors what you actually let go through to the final draft. I think it's good to not think that way when you're just drafting the first draft, because so much can change, but it's still there in the back of your head. So writing in a journal is probably a lot more fun writing than writing a book to publish. Okay, so since you haven't read the first book, let's see. What else can I say about it? So I already said how this woman, her parents died when she was young. She moved to the city. Well, she gets a call from her hometown saying that her aunt has passed. Oh, that's a spoiler, sorry. Saying that her aunt has passed and that she needs to go back to the township to take over the coven because she's the last of the bloodline. She has to. There's no one else. And so that's kind of where the story really kicks off is, okay, I won't spoil anything more, I promise. Will she go back to her township or will she not? And if she does, how is that going to work? Because all these years she hasn't practiced magic. She hasn't even wanted to think about magic because she connects that to the death of her parents. So that's kind of where the story goes. It's also partly a mystery because her aunt died, but she doesn't know what killed her. So she's got to kind of figure out, how did her aunt die? Did someone murder her? What's going on with that? So it's a little bit of a witch story, a little bit of a mystery. Don't worry about spoilers. Like, plot can't give away the emotions and tones we get to experience. True. I've been watching a lot of movie reaction videos, and I saw one recently where they had already seen the movie, but it had been a long time ago, and so I said, oh, I'll just watch it anyway. And even knowing what was going to happen, they still reacted almost as if they'd never seen it before. It was really fun. So yeah, even if you know how the story's supposed to go, it's still not the same as actually reading it. So I agree with you. I would say if the story sounds interesting, definitely check out that free 3-chapter summary, because I read a book one time that sounded amazing and the cover was great, and I started reading it and I was like, I don't really like this style of writing at all, and I couldn't even finish it. So that's why I put the 3 chapters out there, because I wanted to give people a chance to see my style of writing, just decide if they wanted it before they actually went and bought it. But if you do read those 3 chapters and you like it, now's the time to get it, because I have it on sale in ebook format until tomorrow night. So you have today and tomorrow to decide if you want to get it for 99 cents. Otherwise, it goes back up to the regular price. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so are you still here, Krista? You've read the book. I know you might enjoy these Easter eggs. If I haven't told you already, Krista and I talk a lot, so I might have already told you. But I'm going to go through a couple of the Easter eggs. And also, for anyone watching this on replay, hello, thanks for checking the video out. So some of these Easter eggs. There's a character called Mrs. Scrivener. And if you're a writer, that name might be familiar, and that's because she was actually named after the writing software called Scrivener. It's a program that helps you separate out all your different chapters and look at them in a column on the side. So when you're in the document, you can see, oh yeah, this goes up here, and you can kind of keep track of where you are in the story. I like that better for format than just one long document, because there it's hard for me to see where I am in the story. So there's no real correlation to her character personality being anything like a writing program, I guess. But when I was trying to think of a name for her, I was like, oh, Scrivener, that would be really cool. Yeah, so that's where Mrs. Scrivener's name came from. Huh. Thanks, Alder. Okay, so the biggest struggle in writing this book was figuring out the trials. Jade is the main character, and she goes on these 4 trials during the story. I wanted it to be based on the 4 elements, earth, air. I can't tell you, that was going to be a trivia question. Anyway, I wanted it to be based on 4 elements and have there be 4 keys that she needed to find, so kind of a little adventure quest. But figuring out how that would work in the plot of the story was probably the hardest part. I went through several different versions of that over many drafts, trying to make it all work. And Krista, yeah, I love that software. So writing the keys, that was probably, the trials, was probably the hardest part of it. The hardest character to write was probably Jade, the main character, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I really struggle. Even now, I struggle to hear her voice as much as the other characters. There are some voices that come through really clear, like Willow and Mrs. Keepsake. I can hear those voices in my head. I know exactly how they speak. I know what they want. I know everything about them. But the main character, Jade, it's almost like she's fighting me. It's always been a real struggle to write her, which I find funny because she's the main character. We've kind of come to an uneasy truth for the second and third book, and it's getting a little easier to write her now, but that first book, whew, that was hard. Let's see. And the last Easter egg I have on here is there's a lake at the back of her house called Dragonfly Lake, and I was inspired for that name of that lake and that lake itself by my own backyard. I live in Arizona, and there's two different ways you can irrigate your lawn. You can do the regular sprinkler system, or you can do what's called flood irrigation, where there's a canal and the pipes run along the back of all the different properties, and there's a valve that you open and all the water comes out and just floods your yard. And it's only, a couple inches deep when it gets all full, but it's great because in the summertime the dragonflies will just come and zoom and hang out, and it's just so pretty. And so that kind of inspired Dragonfly Lake in the story. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? That's all I have except for the sequel information. So, let's see. Do you have any questions for me? And if you're watching this on replay, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. I will always check my comments every day, and I will answer them as soon as I see them. I think that's all I had. That's all I had, except for the trivia. How can we do the trivia? Because Salter, you haven't read it. Krista, you probably know all these trivias, but competing against yourself is no fun. Popping you in the Bluetooth. Aw, Krista, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for showing up in your busy day. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna ask some trivia questions. So if you're watching this on replay, because there were quite a few people who said they were going to show when they had time. So I'm assuming they're going to watch it on replay. So the trivia questions I have, let's see. Okay, so this one was suggested by Jen Jarrett. Hi, Jen, if you're watching this later. So the question is, what did the fairies ride? And was it fireflies or dragonflies? That one you might be able to guess. Oh, guesses. Oh, okay, Salter. Good, I like that. So this one you might be able to guess. What did the fairies ride? Fireflies or dragonflies? I need to fix my monitor. Okay, I have my glasses on, so I have to lean forward to read it. So do you have a guess, Salter? They're fireflies? No, sorry. It was dragonflies. That's why I called the lake Dragonfly Lake, is because the fairies would ride the backs of the dragonflies. That's okay, though. You haven't read the book, so that makes it kind of hard. So, okay, so I'm gonna ask these other ones, and let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any in here that you could know without reading the book. Yeah, I think. Yeah, dragonflies would look cooler to ride than fireflies. I agree. Okay, so the only one here that you might be able to guess without reading the book is, what are the 4 keys and which elements do they represent? So I don't know if you'll be able to guess what the keys are, but you can try. So there are 4 keys that Jade has to find during this quest, or these quests, and they represent 4 elements. So if you can guess what 4 elements the 4 keys would represent. I think I kind of gave away 1 or 2 of them earlier. So I started to tell you, and I was like, no, wait, that's a trivia. Hey, Joseva. Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. This is my first book, so my first book birthday is pretty exciting. And we've talked a little bit about the story already. Let me know if you've read it or not. If you haven't, I do have 3 chapters that you can read for free to see if it's kind of, you know, the kind of style writing you would like. And we're doing a trivia question. What are the 4 keys and which elements do they represent? You might be able to guess that because the 4 elements are pretty common in witchcraft and magic and things like that. So let's see. Salty says water, fire, wind, and earth. I'm so used to saying them in a certain way that looks weird to me. Earth, air, fire, water. You pretty much got it. It's air instead of wind, but you got the rest. So yay, Walter. Good guess. That's okay, Joseva. It's a story about a witch whose parents died when she was 12, and she moves to the city where they don't do witchcraft. In the city, it's all just science and technology. And she grows up there, and then she finds out when she's grown up that her aunt has been killed, and she needs to go back to the township to take over the coven and become coven leader. And that's kind of where the story kicks off, and she has to go back to her home township. And I've had several reviews comment about the family in it. It really is kind of a story of found family and friendship and facing your fears and the traumas of your past, because it was, can you drop a link for me? Oh, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, you can get the 3 chapters for free, so you can kind of try it out, because that's one thing I missed about getting books in bookstores. All my books are pretty much ebook now, unless, you know, and it was so nice to be able to sit there and read the first few pages of a book and decide if I wanted to buy it before I go to the register. And with ebooks, I mean, they have the look inside feature, but meh. So on my website, there's the first 3 chapters you can get from BookFunnel and decide if you like it. So my website, I'm going to drop links here. That work as a link? Let me know if that worked as a link, because it doesn't look linked, like hyperlinked on my screen. And then I need to pin a comment, huh? With both the link. I lost the page I need. There you are. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so that second link, oh, sorry, it probably needs the HTTP thing. Hang on one second. And also, just to let you know, Joseva, the ebook version right now is on sale for 99 cents in celebration of my book birthday, but it's only going to be on sale until tomorrow night, around midnight. And so if you do decide you want it, now's the time to get it, because it goes back up to the regular price on Monday. So let me type in F. Okay, try that. Let me know. Okay, there it now looks like a link. So yeah, the michellewinkler.com/book is where you can download the first 3 chapters to try, and the other one, mybook.2/Stars on the Altar, is where you can, I think that'll take you to Amazon's ebook page. It's supposed to be a generic one, but every time I try it, it goes to Amazon. So you can get it also at Barnes & Noble, on Nook, Apple iBooks. You can get it pretty much anywhere books are sold. You can even supposedly get it in libraries. I haven't tried that yet, but I did put it on the database for library systems. So if you wanted to check it out at the library, you should be able to ask for it if they don't have it in stock. Okay, so that's my book. Let's see. Oh, let me show you. Sorry, I should have had this planned. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what my book looks like. It's an actual book. Okay. And the back cover. I had to show you this because I love this cover. Jake Clark, I found him off of Reedsy, and he did the cover, and I told him I wanted the main character in kind of a burnt down house, but I also wanted to feature this altar, and he came up with this, and I just, the moment I opened the file and saw my name and the name of the title, I literally started crying. I was like, I can't believe it's real. So yeah, and actually this, when I saw this, I had an idea for a scene, but I wasn't quite sure how I wanted it to play out. When I saw this, I realized exactly how I wanted the scene to play out. So you read this, you get to the air trial, you'll know. Or not the air trial, I'm sorry, the fire trial. The fire trial, this is what inspired that scene. Just Ava, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I haven't decided what the second book's cover is going to be yet, but I'm about to reveal the title. So, Salter, you guys did a fantastic job on your cover. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there were a couple things I wanted to change on it, but not very much. That's all. That's like 99% Jake Clark right there. He did an awesome job on the cover. So, okay, so the second book, the first book, called Dust on the Altar, usually when I abbreviate, it's BOTA. The second book, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the second book stuff because I'm really excited. I just want to stop calling it BOTR, which is how I've been abbreviating it. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to guess. If you have any guesses for what BOTR could stand for, it's a similar title to Dust on the Altar, and it has to do with, I'm going to give a couple hints here. I think Krista guessed this a while ago, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, I can't tell you. But, okay, so it has to do with the bad guy who shows up at the end of the book that I mentioned a little while ago. Yes, we are. Give me a minute to guess. I will. So just Ava, I don't think you were here for this part. I was talking about my favorite parts of Dust on the Altar, and one of them was a character named Raven that appeared at the end of the book, and I love that part of the book because she was a big surprise to me. I didn't expect to have a brand new character show up at the end of the book. Blades on the Road. Ooh, little Mad Max theme going on there. Yeah? No? Good guess, but no. Ballad of the Raven. I like Ballad of the Raven. That's like romance or historical or something to me, it sounds like. No, not right. Blowing on the Reeds. Blowing on the Reeds. No, you're not bad at this. You just haven't read the book. I think if you had read the book, you'd get at least the R right. Okay, so you guys ready for me to reveal the title? You're not bad at this. Once you read the book, you'll get the R part of the thing. BOTR. Am I saying that right? Yeah, BOTR. I want to know if you guys are ready for the title. Yes. Okay. So the title of the sequel, this one is Dust on the Altar. The sequel is going to be called Blood on the Raven. So that might give you an idea of the kind of story if Dust on the Altar didn't. So yeah, Raven's one of the big bad guys, and the title's Blood on the Raven. So we'll see. I haven't figured out the cover yet. Yeah, dark. It's funny because my stories I consider very dark, but then I read some others and I'm like, whoa, my story's not that dark. It's all relative, right? People said, no, I should have said blood. That's okay. Very cool title. Thank you. Yeah, you were close. You were close, Alter, with of the Raven. You only had the first word wrong. That's okay. So that's going to be the title. Now, as I was saying before, this first book took me about 5 years from the time I drafted it to the time it was published, and I do not want the second or third book to take that long. Part of that length of time was because I was learning how to write. This is my very first book. I'd never written a full book before. I'd written a lot of short stories and fan fiction and stuff, but never a full book. And so a lot of the time was spent on the learning curve, trying to learn how to structure a novel that long, because it's very different than a short story, to me anyway. And also deciding that I wanted to be an author for real. I kind of wasn't too serious about it in the beginning. I was like, oh, this is fun, you know, I'm learning a lot. And then partway through I went, you know what, I want this as a career. And that's when I kind of got serious, and that's when things started moving faster. So the second book and the third book I'm hoping to write at about the same time. So they'll be quick releases, one after the other. Krista asks, are you going to use the same cover artist? I hope to. I sent him, oh, that's a spoiler, hang on. I sent him a message not too long ago to try to get back in touch with him, because I've only just commented, like I follow him on Instagram, so I've commented on some of his Instagram photos and stuff, but we haven't really talked since this book, the first book, so I don't know. I hope so. I really hope I can get him to do the second book. This first book, I'm going to show the book again. This first book, which I love so much, it recently won an audiobook production from the Page Turner Awards. I managed to get through the first, second, and up to the third round of judging, so I was on the short list, which in itself is pretty awesome. There's only 28 of us that made it that far, and I was one of the people they chose to get an audiobook, so yay! My book will soon, hopefully, be out in audiobook. I'm still waiting to hear the details on that. They've sent a message to the person in charge of it, so as soon as I know that, I'll be posting that on social media and let you guys know. And that's the message I sent to my cover designer, telling them that I wanted to do an audiobook, and was that included, because the package he included was ebook cover, paperback and hardbook cover, mock-ups, which is like, you know, someone holding it or having it sit on a bench or whatever, making it look like it was real, but it wasn't really a real book yet, those kind of things. And so that was all part of the packages, plus unlimited changes. So, like, if something, like, I realized the color was off, he could fix that easily, so it wouldn't be an extra cost. So I messaged him to see if it would be an extra cost to do the audiobook. Salter says, oh, nice, congrats on getting your audio project selected. Thank you. It was quite a shock, and I have a video. I'm not going to post it because this video is already going pretty long, much longer than I usually have. But I have a 6-minute video of the award show and me winning that prize and my reaction to that. So if you want to see that, let me know, and I will post it after this video is done. Okay, so the second book, Blood on the Raven, I want to draft that and the third book, which has a tentative title. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it, though, so we're just going to call it Book 3 for now. But this Blood on the Raven and the third book, I'm hoping to, like, when I'm drafting one book, the other one is out to betas, and then when that comes back from betas, I can draft the other one, if that makes sense. I can kind of juggle those two books together. If I can do that and not confuse myself too much, I'm hoping to publish Blood on the Raven, Book 2 in the Lighter Shade of Darkness series, December of 2022, so December next year, which is really fast compared to the first book, and then hoping to publish Book 3 in January of 2023. So next December and next January, hopefully I'll have the whole series complete. We'll see. We'll see. When you feel like it, do post. Okay, so Salter says, when you feel like it, do post. It's great to see the milestones. Also good for you to have a record of the highs for when you're revising or editing. Yes, it's funny. I'm going to also do a kind of a year in review video of everything that I've learned since starting this book, which is more than a year, it's 5 years, but whatever. A review video and kind of put in some compilation videos from my channel and things like that. And so I was looking through past things, and I had forgotten a lot of what it was like to be writing back then and not know what the future holds. So it'd be kind of neat to write a letter to my future self when I get book 2 published to say, this is how you're feeling now, remember? So yeah, it's fun to look back on things like that and see the smile post. Krista says, post it. I will. I'll post it. So let's see. I've revealed the title. Oh, progress update. Okay, so where is Blood on the Raven now? It's close to having the first draft done. I am struggling still with the finale. I've done a lot of research on how to structure final battles and things like that. So it's going, it's just kind of slow. Sometimes when you write, everything just comes, and then other times it's like walking through the muck and your feet just don't want to move. But I'm still working at it. So I'm hoping to have the first draft done sometime in the next week or two. I am going to be doing the rough draft for book 3 during NaNoWriMo, so that I can juggle those 2 next year and get them done about the same time. So yeah, it's in progress. I'm excited. I'm going to be posting on my Twitter account is where I'm most active, so you want to follow me, I suggest there. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, but I don't post as often there. But I'm going to be posting bits and pieces of the book as it goes along, and my newsletter subscribers are going to get the most sneak peeks. They're going to be able to see everything before anyone else. Sounds like fantastic progress. Thank you, Salter. It is compared to 5 years, huh? Compared to this first book, it's a lot faster. So yeah, if you guys sign up for my newsletter, I believe I put a link in the description. Probably not. No, I didn't. Okay. So any of my other videos will have a link in the description. I'll put a link in the description of this one after this is over to sign up for my newsletter. And that will be, the newsletter subscribers are the first to hear when it's done, to get sneak peeks of snippets from it. And also, I plan on doing the same thing I did with the first book, which is to write 10 short stories, like, a couple thousand words or less, based on the characters in the book. And these short stories were, some of them were backstories of the characters. Other ones were, okay, when this was happening with the main character, what was going on with these characters? Those kind of things. So it gives you a little more world building, a little more insight into the characters. So all my newsletter subscribers get those first for free, and they'll get about one a month leading up to, for 10 months leading up to the launch. And then once the launch happens, you'll get all of them compiled into an ebook for free. And then after that, I'm considering using that as one of my reader magnets for my newsletter. I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. But you will be the first to read them. Krista, there's a structure to final battles. A lot for me to still learn. Yes, there's a structure to, well, it depends. That's the cool thing about writing and the hard thing about writing. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. So I found a couple different structures for a final battle that I really like that help because it breaks it down. Instead of one big scene, it breaks it down into smaller scenes. So I'm going to try that, and I'll let you know how it goes. And if it does help, I will either blog post about it or maybe I'll do a short video on it. Okay, so how long has this been going for? It doesn't show me anywhere how long we've been online. It's been a while, though, right? Right? It doesn't show me how long we've been online. Maybe this will show me. No, I have no idea. But it's probably been far too long. So, all right, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you have any other questions for me, let me know in the chat. Again, the ebook version of Death on the Altar is available for 99 cents up until tomorrow night, and then I'm taking it back up to the regular price. The second book in the trilogy, Blood on the Raven, is going to be hopefully done with the first draft next week, so maybe next month, so maybe I can publish it at the end of next year. Fingers crossed. Let's see, Salter, congrats on your anniversary, and thanks for taking the time to share with us. Anytime, Salter. Thank you so much for coming by and saying hello. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's see, anything else? I don't think so. Okay, if you have anything else after I hang up, just drop it in the comments. I check them every day. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Uh-oh. Where's my pen? There it is. Bye.